My name is Sara DeRoo, and the library I've chosen to feature this week is the Body Arts Library Collection, which is a virtual collection within the Pitts Rivers Museum. The Pitts Rivers Museum is one of 6 cultural heritage organizations run and operated by the University of Oxford. In addition to the Pitts Rivers Museum, the University of Oxford also sponsors the Ashmolean Museum of Art and Archaeology, the Bodleian Libraries, the Oxford Botanic Garden and Arboretum, and the History of Science Museum, and the Museum of Natural History. The Body Arts Virtual Library Collection can be found hosted on the Pitt Rivers Museum website by first going to Collections, then Online Collections. From there, you have many options you can search, but what I did was I scrolled to the bottom and I went to Collection Research Sites, and after clicking there, I was given these options to choose from, and I selected the Body Art Collections at the Pitt Rivers Museum, which brings us here. The Body Arts Virtual Library Collection serves as a starting point for exploring the body art collection within the Pitt Rivers Museum, which is a physical collection. This coincides within the Pitt Rivers Museum larger mission to be a welcoming space where stories can be shared to strengthen and deepen cross-cultural understanding. The Body Arts Digital Library Collection came about as a result of a grant awarded to the Pitt Rivers Museum in 2010. This grant was awarded from the now defunct Museums, Libraries, and Archives Council. The grant was a one-time payment, and there is no additional funding at this time. Additionally, the Museum, Libraries, and Archives Council was dissolved in 2012. At this time, both the National Archives and the Arts Council of England have succeeded the MLA, but neither are currently associated with. The Arts Digital Library contains a range of audio and video files featuring body artists and others illustrating and discussing body arts and related themes. There have been no updates to this digital collection since 2011. As you can see from our method of access, this library collection is available freely over the web. No sign-in or paywall is necessary. First thing I noticed about the homepage for the Body Arts Virtual Library Collection is that there is no search feature. This virtual library collection can only be browsed. There is no search function. It is broken up into the categories of temporary arts, permanent arts, life cycle arts, multimedia, and resources. When browsing the 5 categories, a user will notice that each category actually has its own introductory homepage. So whether I click Introduction or the main category, I will be taken to that homepage. On the homepage of a given category, you will then see subsections on the left-hand side. So for the temporary arts category, we have mirrors, cosmetics, body painting, hair, scent, and toiletries. By selecting one of these subsections, we are brought to a page all about that particular subtopic. And then the left side menu transitions from subcategories to artifacts within that category. We have the buffalo horn mirror, copper mirror, and so on. The thing that I noticed and that really irked me about this particular organization system is if I were to select the buffalo horn mirror as my artifact that I wanted to learn more about, if I click it, it's no longer in the list. So if I were then to go to the bronze mirror, it is no longer in the list. I think I might be being a little bit petty, but at first observation, I thought I was insane because it was right here. I'm looking at the bronze mirror. I just clicked it, but it's not there. Where did it go? While browsing through these categories, I also noticed that the majority of the body arts featured are either ancient or pre-19th century. If we look at the permanent arts, we have reshaping and piercing, scarification, tamoko, and tattooing. Piercing and tattooing, we all know, is a current practice, but if we go to the reshaping and piercing subtopic, these are all rather archaic practices. The same is true if we go to tattooing. The majority of these topics are historical forms of tattoo, with the exception being the electronic tattoo machine and transfer process. We can see that this was dated as of 2004. While this section is dedicated to a current practice, it is not updated to the most recent techniques or technology. What I also noticed is when we go to the multimedia section, we have audio and video. The audio and video contained within the multimedia section relate to any one of temporary, permanent, or life cycle arts. I thought it was interesting that these audio and video files are separate from the actual collection organization categories themselves. So while it would make sense that some of these are actually linked in to temporary, permanent, or life cycle arts, it's up to the user to determine which category the audio or video clip is applicable to. Going back to the home page, we are reminded that this virtual library collection coincides with physical pieces within the Pitt Rivers Museum. Each category, let's go to cosmetics, each category will reference at the bottom that there is further information available on a given topic in the museum's introductory guide, which is available here. Most of these links are broken. Page not found. In some instances, the link to the introductory guide is not even available, as is the case on the body painting page. No introductory guide linked. A patient user will eventually find, if they go through all the categories, a link that works. And this was not one of them. If a user is patient and browses through all of the categories, they will eventually come to a subcategory with an introductory guide link that actually works. This brings you to the Learning Resources page for the Pitt Rivers Museum. It contains all of the supplementary PDFs that goes with the physical collections. Looking through and finding the body arts documents, the user will find that all of the intended guides are in fact there, including the body painting one that was not actually linked to the page. If a user selects an introductory guide from this Learning Resources page, they will download a PDF on their selected subject. And this is an introductory guide, so much of the information is the same as what is on the page for that subject on the virtual collection. However, the where it differs and the value that I can see that is added is that if you go to the last page of any of the introductory guides, you are brought to a section that has objects featured in this fact sheet and where they can be found in the physical museum. This is the only reference to any of the physical collection that I have been able to find on this virtual collection. You'll also notice that these documents are edited last in 2010. So based on all of the copyright and editing data that I can find throughout this virtual collection, it leads me to believe that this virtual library collection has been created and left alone and has ultimately lost some of its value due to age and not being maintained. The final piece of evidence that allowed me to come to that conclusion was the Resources tab. In the Resources tab, we again have broken links to the museum introductory guides. Again, body painting. Nope, didn't work. We also have an assertion of a collaboration with Ruskin College. That link is also broken. So what that collaboration is unclear. I did some research, and there is a Ruskin College that is just like a regular liberal arts school, but there's also a Ruskin College of Arts, and both are geographically near Pitts River Museum. They do go on to provide more information regarding similar institutes. We have a bibliography. All of the resources cited are from the 80s or 90s or earlier. And if we go to the resources tab, we have the information about the grant which funded the library collection. We have various credits. What association these people work for is unclear, but my assumption is that they work with either the University of Oxford or the Pitt Rivers Museum, as their institution is uncredited. You can see that there was built in a site login and a site survey. I assume that the site login is meant for a webmaster, somebody who would be managing the collection, because you are not able to create a login. And the site survey also does not work. So ultimately, I feel that this virtual library collection, while on a topic that I find incredibly interesting, has not been well maintained and is regrettably going the way of obsolete. I thank you for viewing. This is Sara DeRoo, signing off.